Hey guys, it's Kayla and welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things emo scene and everything in between. Today I am back and I'm going to be telling you more things that I wish I knew before I was emo scene. If you didn't know this already, I did post a video similar to this, or a first part to this video, earlier on my channel like a couple weeks ago, and you guys really loved it. But I have tons of other stuff that I definitely wish I knew before I was emo scene or started dressing alternative, and so I just wanted to share more of that stuff with you and see if that is also helpful to you. So yeah, these are things that I wish I knew before I was emo scene. So honestly, one of the first things that I wish I knew when I first started being emo scene was how big of being a poser, or like whatever that is, was going to be in the community. I feel like we still see this a lot today in the culture, where people really do just like care a lot about calling people posers or like gatekeeping certain things. And like, I would be lying if I said I didn't gatekeep maybe like tiny little things to myself just so I have something special. But like, I don't really gatekeep, if I'm being honest. Like, if you ask me pretty much where anything I have is from, like, I'm gonna tell you exactly where I got it, how I acquired it, made it, whatever. Like, there's not really secrets there. But there's a lot of people in the community that feel the need to gatekeep things because they want to keep their style special to them. And I understand that, I really do. But a lot of our culture has been taken and reused, and like a lot of people pick up things from other people and they feel inspired. And so there's no such thing as really owning like one thing and it being like solely yours, unless like you really do just like invent it. And even then, people will take it and do their own interpretations of it, so you never really know what's going to happen with that. But I will say that it is a big thing to be a poser in the community. It has a lot to do with fashion as well. So like, if you dress a certain way but you definitely don't have the personality or interest and or anything like that to back it up, then like, yeah, maybe that would be kind of interesting. But like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of weird drama involving like being a poser, or like the big deal of being a poser. I'm sure if you're trying to dress alternative and this is new to you, that you've been called a poser or something, just as you're trying to get into the style. It's like, as you're learning to be emo scene, people will literally judge you and make you feel terrible while you're learning the ropes. And I definitely feel like a lot of that is unnecessary. It definitely makes the community a bit more toxic than it needs to be, and it definitely made things challenging for me when I first started, because I felt like no matter what I did, people were just going to judge what I did and how I looked. And ultimately, it pushed me to just kind of dress however I wanted, which is great, but like, I still wish I didn't have to experience that, you know? I wish I had known how expensive my favorite band's tickets were going to get. And I say this because all of my favorite bands ended up blowing up, and now their tickets are like so expensive. And I used to get such cheaper concert tickets. And I feel like knowing now how expensive they are, and like wishing, like if I had known it then, I definitely feel like I would have gone to more shows. Like, I would have been at all of the shows, as many as I could have gone to, because they would have been so much more affordable and so much better than now. And I mean, to be fair, I was going to as many shows as possible, but like, I was younger, like I had no money. To me, $40 felt like a lot. Now, if you offered me the opportunity to see Pierce the Veil for $40, I would literally laugh and cry at the same time, because that would be so cheap compared to what I paid. So it's like, I really wish I would have known how expensive the tickets would have got. I definitely would have went to more concerts. Definitely go to as many as you can now, because my biggest fear is that they're going to somehow be more expensive, and I cannot afford that. I wish when I first started dressing emo scene that I didn't listen to all of the people that told me it was just going to be a phase. And I say this because I believed them in part for a small period of time, and I did get rid of some of my clothes because of that, and that sucks. I'm not saying that people don't grow out of scene and emo as far as being a style. I definitely understand you going through different phases as far as what you like in fashion, and maybe you decide that's not how you want to dress. That's perfect. For me, I have dressed this way pretty consistently throughout the last, like, I don't know, 13, 14 years now that I've been doing it, and I have to be honest, like, I only ever did have small phases of me not being emo scene. There were never just small phases of me dressing this way. And I wish I hadn't got rid of all my clothes. Okay, well, maybe not all my clothes, but I definitely did get rid of a lot of clothes, because I thought, oh, well, I'm growing out of it. This is a phase. No, it wasn't. It was never a phase. It's not a phase. I don't know what to tell you. Do not get rid of your emo scene stuff. Hold on to it. Cherish it, because you're gonna hate yourself if you sell it or you get rid of it and then you want it later in life, because you realize it wasn't a phase. Keep your stuff. When I first started dressing emo scene, I wish I had known about the reputation that comes with that. And I say that because when you dress alternative, or you start getting tattoos and piercings and all of these things, or styling your hair in funky ways, people look at you differently, and they also judge you for that. And it is pretty severe sometimes. Like, if you go into a store, for instance, people are going to look at you and be like, you're a delinquent. Or like, if you're out in the street just hanging out having fun, like, they're going to assume that you're doing something bad. Like, there's always been some sort of weird energy around when I hang out with my friends in a social setting, when there's like other people around that judge me and my friends for how I look or how we look. And it's such a thing where I have to consciously like pay attention to how I am and make sure that I'm not doing anything wrong. And it definitely feels weird because I don't want people looking at me or assuming that I'm a bad person or that I'm up to bad things just because I like to wear black, or I like to cake black eyeliner on my face, or I don't know, like just be around people that also like to do that. So it really feels like there shouldn't be all of that weird energy around there. I feel like people feel that way also because there's like drinking and smoking at shows. I really don't know. But I will say it's definitely not worth all of the stuff that we get as people, as far as people being rude to us in public or judging us just based off of appearance because they assume that we are up to no good. I'm not saying that every person that dresses this way is a good person, but I will say that there are a lot of great alternative emo scene people out there, and you definitely shouldn't just judge them based off how they look. We're all just individuals out here trying to live nice lives. So I assume that a lot of people are good and have good intentions until they show me otherwise. Okay, so I'm going to do a trigger warning for this one because it does involve weight and dieting. So if that is triggering to you, feel free to skip this part and carry on to the next one. But I will say that I wish I had known whenever I started dressing emo scene that people were going to like judge you for like your weight as far as being emo and scene. For whatever reason, it's so aesthetic to be skinny and being emo scene, and I've always thought that's so dumb. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be healthy, but like judging people or thinking they're less emo scene or they don't fit into the style as much because of their weight has never been cool. I say this because I've seen a lot of creators online that are maybe a different body type than what you saw on Tumblr in 2012, and it's so like triggering just to see the way that people react to them being alternative. It's like you cannot be alternative and not the like stick thin figure of what they thought you were supposed to be back in 2008. It's so strange and bizarre to me. There really is a lot of negativity when it comes to just like body acceptance and people being okay with themselves. Like, I've never understood any of that, but I definitely feel like it can be toxic. And I remember seeing memes and stuff on Tumblr back in the day, or like aesthetic images on Tumblr back in the day of like thigh gaps and stuff that women are supposed to have in order for them to be more emo scene or like fit into that. And it just never seemed right or like a thing. So I would definitely make sure that you don't pay any attention to that, because you can be alternative and emo and scene and it has absolutely nothing to do with how you look or your body type at all. As long as you are happy and healthy, that is literally all that matters, and it doesn't make you any less or more emo scene to be whatever body shape or size. Just dress and be however you want to be in whatever way that makes you comfortable. And yes, that culture is absolutely toxic, because I remember dieting at the age of like 14, thinking that if I did it, then I would be like too big to be emo or scene or the ideal emo scene girl. And that is such toxic mindset and behavior to have at such a young age. So definitely avoid that. You can just skip that whole part of the journey. You are great as you are. Never forget it. To add to that, there are so many unhealthy habits that are in the emo scene community, like drinking Monster all the time, and even I'm like guilty of having promoted that as being like an emo scene stereotype. But I gotta be real, like it's not cool to only drink energy drinks. Make sure you're drinking water. I really did think that all those bands were drinking like a ton of Monster all the time, and I'm like 90% sure those cans were full of water like most of the time. So I'm not even sure what we were all doing back then, but like definitely make sure that you're staying hydrated and not just drinking Monster because you think it's aesthetic or cool, because what's really cool is making sure that you're taking care of yourself. I say this as a warning and precaution, but it's definitely something I wish I had known and something I definitely recommend steering clear of. And this also may have just been something I dealt with in the era that I was growing up emo scene, but be careful online with who you talk to. Something about dressing emo scene makes it feel like creepy men just need to be a part of that. And I'm not sure what it is, but in my years of being on Kick at like 2013 and like all those other years when I was just like on IMVU and stuff and chatting with random strangers online, I'm like pretty sure that almost all of them were like strange old men that were definitely like super weird on the internet. So please just be careful who you talk to, because they will look at you and see that you're emo scene or dress a certain way, and then they will absolutely target you. So be very careful and make sure that you are like not talking to people you don't know like that. Please be careful. I'm gonna be real, the more I reflect on it, I feel like I'm finding a lot of negative things to tell you guys, but I gotta be real, there's so many positive things to being emo scene as well. I wish that people had told me how many friends I was gonna make and how cool all the shows would have been, because if I had known how great all these things would be, maybe I would have done more of it when I was younger so I could have experienced more things by now. I don't know, but it really is amazing to be emo scene. I hope I'm not steering you clear of it. I just want you to be aware of the stuff that I've had to deal with, and maybe things that you should look out for in your own journey of being emo scene or dressing alternative, because it really is difficult out there and no one really gives the advice that you really need to hear sometimes. So I definitely have more things that I could tell you, but I don't want to make this a super duper long video, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here. But I hope this is beneficial to you. If you like videos like this, make sure that you leave a like on it, and like I said, comment below any questions that you have. Also make sure that you subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you know exactly when I post. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and head on out. Remember to stay safe, make good choices, and remember that you're awesome. I love you guys. Mwah!